Loneliness, the secret everyone carries, but few dare to speak. We are all aboard a monstrous ship hurtling into the unknown, pretending we know the way. Somehow, I was aboard the big ship. Every day and night, this ship cuts through the waves, spewing out black smoke incessantly. It makes a terrible noise, but I don't know where we're going. All I can see is the sun rising from the bottom of the waves like red-hot fire tongues drawn from the coals. It comes right above the tall mast and hangs there for a while, and then before you know it, it has overtaken the larger ship and gone ahead. Then, in the end, it goes off with a hiss, like a red-hot steel rod plunged into water, and sinks back to the bottom of the waves. Each time, in the distance, the blue waves bubble up the color of safflower. The ship then chases after it, making a tremendous noise, but it never catches up. One day I caught a man on the deck and asked him, "Is this ship heading west?" The man looked at me with a puzzled expression for a while and then asked back, "Why?" "Because it's like chasing the setting sun." The man laughed deeply, and then he went off in the other direction. When we go west, is the end in the east? Is that the truth? When we leave the east, is the home in the west? Is that the truth? Our body is on the waves. Ride, let it flow, he chanted. I went to the bow and saw many sailors gathered around, pulling at the thick sail ropes. I felt very lonely. I didn't know when I would be able to reach land, and I didn't know where I was going. All I knew was that the ship was cutting through the waves, spewing black smoke. The waves were extremely wide. They looked endlessly blue. At times, they even turned purple. But the area around the ship, as it moved, was always foaming with pure white foam. I felt very lonely. I thought I would rather jump off and die than stay on this ship. When the sky got cloudy and the ship started to rock, a woman leaned against the railing and cried profusely. The towel she was wiping her eyes with looked white, but she was wearing Western clothing. When I saw this woman, I realized that I wasn't the only one who was sad. One night when I was on the deck alone looking at the stars, a foreigner came up to me and asked me if I knew anything about astronomy. I was so lonely as to think of dying. There was no need to know anything about astronomy. I remained silent. The foreigner then told me the story of the 7 stars at the top of Taurus. He went on to say that the stars and the sea were all created by God. Finally, he asked me if I believed in God. I looked up at the sky and remained silent. One time when I walked into a salon, I saw a young woman in a flashy outfit facing away from me playing the piano. Next to her was a tall, handsome man singing. His mouth looked very large. However, the two of them seemed completely oblivious to anything else going on. They even seemed to forget that they were on a ship. I felt more desolate than ever. Finally, I made up my mind to die. So one night, when there was no one around, I took a leap of faith and jumped into the ocean. However, the moment my feet left the deck and my connection with the ship was severed, I suddenly felt reluctant to die. I wished from the bottom of my heart that I had stopped, but it was too late. Whether I wanted to or not, I had to crawl into the sea. However, the ship seemed to be built very high, and although my body left the deck, my feet did not easily reach the water. But since there was nothing to hold on to, I gradually got closer to the water. Hard though I tried to draw up my legs, I was getting nearer and even nearer to the black water. Eventually, the ship passed by, spewing black smoke as usual. For the first time, I realized that it would have been better to stay on the ship, even if I didn't know where it was going. But I was unable to make use of that realization, and filled with infinite regret and fear, I quietly fell toward the black waves. You see, we are all on this ship. This ship is a metaphor for our life. The truth is, nobody knows what is behind us, what is in front of us, where are we going. We all have this question inside of us. Sometimes we look at some documentaries and we see those prisoners, in the prisons, and we think that they are some like kind of wild animals in a cage. We just stare at them like at the circus, but we don't see that we are in the same situation. We know that we have a limited time on earth. What makes us different than those prisoners on death row? And any human being with a little bit of consciousness would stop and think, okay, so I am in this situation, there is a looming death, and man, this is weird, I need to talk with somebody about this. But instead, what we do, we watch movies, we dance, we travel. I mean, not that these things are wrong, but we suppress that voice that has the right to be heard. This person who jumped in the water, it's our own inner voice that is always there and always seeks our attention. He is the symbol of all the people who talk about everything except what is important. What do you think about the song of this crew member he met? It's gibberish. It is a circular argument, it is nonsense, and that is actually what 80% of people online are trying to teach you about life. It's a mashup of Hermes Trismegistus, of manifestation, inventions, assumptions, channeling, ghosts, ancestral spirits, morphic resonance. It's gibberish. Everything is gibberish. And then he sees the woman who cries. She is the symbol of desperation, of being at the end of the rope when you don't have any words to describe your loneliness. You just have this deep cry coming from within yourself. He's very high up, a very spiritual talk, and very far from the mundane world where he is. He is on the ship, going in the freaking nowhere, in the dark, and somebody else talks about constellations. I have been and I am all these people. I am the one who talked gibberish, the woman who cried unconsoled. I am the one who sought solution in the sky, and I'm the one who finds fun in entertainment and prefers not to think about the elephant in the room. I was reading the book written by the psychiatrist Frederick Perls. Book he mentions that when we have a dream, all the elements of the dream could be parts of our personalities, parts that we don't want to think about, we have somehow rejected from our awareness. Well, I don't know if Natsume Soseki, the writer, really had this dream or if it is a piece of fiction. In truth, it doesn't matter. As Fritz Perls mentioned in this book, Gestalt therapy, verbatim, one can assume that also different scenarios in our lives contain parts of our selves externalized. There is this part of us that is involved in daily matters, in entertainment, in video watching, in, I don't know, gossiping, chatting, outings with friends, anything else. And there is also a part of us that is always with us. You cannot deny that there is an underlying feeling that we are living in a strange situation. It would be weird if you would not think about it. And the thing is, if we don't listen to this voice, will we be capable to pay attention to other people's loneliness? Will we be able to detect it? Will we be able to have a listening ear when we don't have a listening ear for ourselves? If we don't listen to our inner voice, we have no capacity to listen to others people's suffering, and essentially we propagate loneliness throughout the society. There is a person missing in this story, I think. Maybe you think the same way as I do. This poor man deserved perhaps to meet someone on that ship, a person with experience, a person who would be able to sit down next to him and tell him, I understand your anguish. I have been here for a long time. I also don't know where this ship is going, but I believe this and this. I believe and I saw or I experienced. It doesn't have to be much to alleviate someone's loneliness. You just have to be present. And more than that, you just have to be present to yourself. Have a listening ear to your own loneliness. How many times have you did something about that inner voice? That voice of the voice of your loneliness. Did you paint something from it? Did you listen to what it's saying? Did you write the inner monologue you have in those moments when you are alone? This was a little bit of food for thought from my side. Let me know what you think. Do you think that he jumped overboard and that meant ending his life? Or he represents our inner voice, the voice of our loneliness, which we suppress and goes back into dark waters of our subconscious, never to be seen again? Do we become as those people on the ship? Do we become puppets, performers, madmen, entertainers? Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.